Hello everybody, and welcome to another tutorial. Apologies for not being so active on the tutorial side. Been quite busy with working on my video game project and trying to stream weekly, and you can see some of that in the live section here on YouTube. But for this tutorial, I wanted to share a quick and simple way to help with static vehicle placement. I've always wanted to be able to easily place vehicle in the level and not have to spend too much time adjusting rotations, so the wheel don't go through the ground, which I've been faced with many times, especially if it's not a flat terrain or I wanted to kind of do some more interesting placement with the vehicle. So I've created this blueprint that I wanted to share with you today. Here's what the end results are gonna look like. So let me just pull that in. Alright, so I have this little military vehicle, and as you can see, all the wheels are sitting on the ground, but at different levels. So if I was to move this around a little bit, you can see that they get adjusted. So that way you can place a vehicle kind of in more interesting positions. You can also like tilt it to the side a little bit, so kind of like that. That's probably a little bit too much, but the wheels also stay on the ground. And let me just adjust the lighting a little bit so we can maybe see it a little bit better. Let's see how I can move this, or maybe increase some of the values. Alright, and just rotate it a little bit, or maybe make this a little stronger. It's not perfect lighting, but just so that you can see the wheels a little bit better on this vehicle. So yeah, if you rotate it a little bit like this, or kind of going forward, that those wheels stay on the ground. Of course, it's once you close in on the vehicle, if it's like in an exaggerated position like this, you might be able to see that the axles are kind of just off of the vehicle. But again, this is the most simple way, and in this case the wheel is going through. So this is the most simple way that I was able to set something up. So if you do have something custom like this, at least it's gonna look alright. The other thing that I've added to this is a way to set the front wheels angle, so that way you can get a little bit more variety on how the vehicle looks. So they're not all just they look at I mean, because they're already the same type of asset, but they're not all gonna look like the same thing. Wheels straight, no difference in the wheel placement. So this one looks like it's a little bit on like somewhat of an active type of item. Okay, so before getting into creating the blueprint, let's have a quick look at the example asset. So this particular vehicle, it's coming out of a creator on the marketplace called Vigilante, and they have a lot of free like military focused vehicles, and the fact that they're free, it's very helpful. So what I did is, once I got the assets off of the marketplace, I've exported the vehicle to Blender, pretty simple, and just pulled the wheels off of it, and then exporting the vehicle with no wheels, and with that I've also exported one of the wheels. So let's take a look how these look. Let me pull that up and I'll show you. Okay, so here's the vehicle itself. As you can see, no wheels, and it's just sitting on the ground. And then here's the wheel itself. So one thing to note, and what helped me quite a bit, is making sure where to set the pivot point. So in this case, the pivot point is right on the inside point of the wheel and just centered. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's get into the blueprint. So I'm gonna be creating it. Let's see, where do I want to place it? Tutorials. I have my tutorials folder here. Let's create a new folder and call this BP underscore static vehicle, because it's looks like a vehicle, but it's not moving, so obviously. Alright, so I'm gonna call this from an actor and BP underscore static vehicle, and maybe call it military vehicle. Okay. So let's take a look at the blueprint here. First of all, what I want to drag in is our assets. So in that case, I'm gonna have where is my, it's interesting, once you bring in the a blueprint window in here, you can't see the content browser anymore. I'm not sure if that's a bug or if it's a design feature, but it's interesting. Anyway, so let me get to my meshes, wherever those are. I'll find them right away. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna drag and drop this into here. Just make this a little bit bigger. Alright, so I got the body of the vehicle, and I'm also gonna drag in a wheel. Alright, so now I can dock this over here so we can see it a little bit better. Excellent. Okay, so now that we have the vehicle, I'm gonna need 3 wheels, right? So the first, I'm just gonna duplicate these. I'm gonna label them as well, so I'm gonna call this front right wheel. Duplicate, and it's gonna be front left wheel, and then duplicate this one. This is gonna be a rear left wheel, and duplicate this one again, and it's gonna be a rear right wheel. And one thing to note, since this is the same wheel all around, I'm gonna have to rotate the so this one is gonna be, let me just move this over here a little bit, and then move this over here. So this one, let's see, this one is the rear right wheel. So the rear right wheel, let me make sure that I'm facing the right way. There we go. So this one's gonna go here on this side. Then this one is the rear left wheel, so this one's gonna go about here, and I'm gonna rotate it 180 degrees. And that's what I mentioned, it's good to have the pivot point in a center position for this wheel. And then let's see, this one's front left, so it goes right there. And I need to rotate this one as well, so let's rotate it by 180, place it in right about there, and then the this one is front right. Perfect. Alright, so front right is going to go somewhere around there. And remember, these are going to be dynamically placed. What we're going to do is we're going to do a trace from the position right around where the let's see, do we have some better vision here? Right around where the axle, kind of the knuckle, and you know, in mechanical terms, where the wheel is attached to the body, right? So that's where we're going to shoot a rate straight down. We're going to do a trace straight down, so we know when we hit the ground, you know, adjust the positioning of the wheel. Alright, so let's jump into the construction script, and we're also going to need to create a few variables here. So the first variable is how far down we want to shoot the ray. So I'm going to create one here, and I'm going to call it how far down shoot trace. So this one's going to be a float. Alright, now the other thing we're going to need is a wheel offset. So depending on the wheel that you have, maybe you don't have the pivot point right in the center, so this will help you adjust the wheel positioning, and we'll see how that works. Alright, so Let's do, I'm going to duplicate this one, and this one is going to be called wheel offset. So vertical wheel offset. Alright, and the last one, what I'm going to have is I want to be able to rotate the wheels. So let's duplicate this one, and I'm going to call this wheel angle. Maybe we want to call this front wheels, because you can have a vehicle that has a drive on the rear wheels, so you can adjust that as well. Alright, so with that said, what we're going to need to do is the way I have this set up is I'm gonna set the relative rotation for the wheels first. So for that, I'm just gonna use this front wheel angle here, and then I'm gonna grab the front right and the front left wheel. Bring these in, and for this, I'm just gonna add relative rotation to each one of these. Let's split this struct bin here and just rotate around the z-axis. Alright, so there you go. Let's just clean these up a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to get to shooting what I'm going to use is a sphere trace by channel. So each one of these wheels is going to get one of those. So let's take a look at how we want to do that. So first of all, I'm just going to do a sequence here because we have 4 wheels. I'll just add the 4 pins. Alright, so from here, each one of these is going to have a sphere trace by channel. But how do we know where to start shooting the ray from? Well, so what I've done is, and this is pretty simple, there might be better ways to do it, but I've added some spheres. So that way I can get the world location of where the sphere is and shoot the sphere trace down. So the way I'm going to position these, and I'm also going to rename them. So one of them is going to be, let's just make them a little smaller, so maybe 0.2. Let's make sure we lock the scale and set this to 0.2. So that's about a good size. So I'm going to try and place this right about where the wheel axle is. So maybe somewhere around there. Alright, so that should be good. So what the sphere trace is gonna do is gonna shoot it from here all the way down to as far as how far we tell it to shoot it, and wherever it hits, that's where we're gonna know that okay, the wheel is gonna need to sit on this surface. And then with the help of the vertical wheel offset, we're gonna be able to adjust that position. Okay, so for this one, what we're gonna have is, let's rename it first. So this is gonna be I'm gonna call this sphere right front. Then let's duplicate it, and this is going to be right rear, and we're going to move it to the rear of the vehicle, right about to there. I think that's pretty decent positioning. Alright, so let's duplicate this, and this is going to be left rear. And let's place it as well, so just move it. I'm just going to go into unlit so I can tell a little bit better where it's at. Right above to there. Okay, and now let's get the front as well. So duplicate this one, and this is going to be left front. Okay, and I'll move that to the side here. Right to about there. I think that should be good. We can adjust the positioning afterwards. Okay, so back in the construction script. First of all, let's start with, as we have them in order here, we're just going to start from here. So the sphere left front, I'm just going to do get world location, and so that's going to be the start. And then I'm going to want to shoot this down by our how far down to shoot the trace. And since I want to shoot it just on the z-axis, I'm gonna place this. Come on, get this right in my z, and then it's gonna end here. There we go. Okay, so wherever this hits, that's where I want to get the impact point and set my the location for my wheel. So in this case, this is my sphere left front, so I'm gonna get front left wheel. Alright, and for this one I'm gonna set world location. And what's the world location? Out of out hit, I'm gonna get I'm gonna break this hit result. And at impact location, I can drag it right into here, but remember we need to set an offset for the wheel. So what I'm gonna get out of this is a minus, and what I'm gonna subtract, if you remember, I'm going to split this, and I'm going to subtract the vertical wheel offset on the z-axis. Alright, and then my new location is going to be this. Alright, so at this point, let's take a quick test and see how this behaves. Let's bring in our static vehicle, newly created blueprint. Alright, so there it is. As you can see, it's kind of a little bit of a mess right now. So let's take a look at first. What we want to do is let's set these up so that they're editable. And I'm going to start off with kind of a valley that has worked on my project. So just to start off, I'm going to do let's do how far down to shoot the trace. This is going to be, let's call it 200. Then the vertical wheel offset, this one I've set to 70 for this particular vehicle. And I'm not going to worry about the front wheel angle at the moment. Alright, so let's take a look and see if we get this wheel in the front to update. Let's see what's going on. First of all, I'm just going to also turn this on to be shooting down, so we can get a little bit of an idea of where it's positioned. Alright, so it looks like that one is shooting it and placing it right there. But let's see, what am I missing? Okay, let's take a look here. So I have the sphere left front. And then the front left wheel. Let's make sure I have them placed in the right. I'm working with the right ones. So I have the sphere, the sphere left front, and this one's the front, the front right. Unfortunately, I guess I mixed up my naming here. So this is going to be the front left, actually. So let me just modify these. So this is the front right. There it goes, right there. And then this one's the front left. Alright, so let's compile this and see what we get. So nothing at this point. Why is that happening? So let's take a look at this real quick. So we have the sphere left front, and the front left wheel, let's make this so that it's properly named. Let's check the construction graph. So we have the sphere left front and the front left wheel. It should be the one here. Alright, so that's a little bit better. We have the actual proper wheels that are as you can see, there's the line trace that's being shot being shot down. The only problem is that right now it seems like it's under the surface, and let's see why that is. Okay, so let's do a little bit bigger radius on this. So as you can see, this is where your line trace or your sphere trace is happening. Alright, so let's see if we do this one to be a little bit of a different kind of and that's what I meant, the vertical wheel offset. It's important. And now as you can see, the wheel is in one place. So if I was to move this around a little bit, as you can see, it just adjusts to other, like, in this case I wouldn't call it rough terrain, but to other objects in the level. So in this case, as you can see, let's see, there it goes. So it's just sitting right there. Now this one's a little bit unintuitive for the vertical wheel offset with the negative, because it has to be kind of going up from the point of where the sphere trace is happening. So you can adjust that to actually be maybe a plus instead of this minus here. So let's change that, because we're going to use it in actually no, this is how far the wheel the trace is happening. It's going to be this one here. So the impact point is going to be a plus, and we can split this struct pin here and put this in the Z. And there, let's compile it real quick, and now we can set this to 70. So there it is. Perfect. I think that sits right on the surface. Alright, let's quickly get the other wheels done, and just in a similar fashion, I'm just gonna copy and duplicate these with Control D. We have 3 wheels, and we have the 4th wheel. Alright, so let me connect these real quick. So we have this one in here, then we have this one here, and last but not least, this one here. Let's make sure I replace everything here. So we started with the sphere left front. Let's continue with the sphere right front and the front right vehicle, front right wheel. There we go. Now we have the sphere, let's go on the rear. So we got the sphere left rear and the rear left wheel, and let's do the right. So now we have the sphere right rear, and we also have the front or the rear right wheel. Okay, let's compile this and see what we get. Okay, so I guess these ones were not rotated. Let me just fix that real quick. And at least I thought that I had rotated them. Let's take a look. Rear right wheel. Let's do the rotation to, is it the right wheel? I'm hoping it's going to be the right wheel. Let's do that to be 90. Or actually 180. I want to flip it around. There it goes. And then this one also needs the same treatment. So and I'm actually hoping that I didn't actually let me let me take a look, because I think I might have botched these a little bit. So this is the right, and this is the left. And now, yeah, they're all in the same spot, just because of the construction script. So I'm gonna uncouple this for a little bit here, just to ensure that I have these placed as they should. Not sure why they got all spaced out like that, but this one is the rear left, which I'm expecting it to be, with the rear left rear, and then this one's the rear right, with the sphere right rear. So that should work. Not entirely sure why that. So we got the sphere left front, front left wheel, sphere right front, front right rear, front right wheel, sphere rear left rear with the rear left wheel, and the sphere right rear with the rear right wheel. So that should have worked. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't the first time around, but there it is. Okay, so now as you can see, once you adjust the vehicle to move it around, of course you can't go to this point, because you'll be able to tell that it's just the things are coming apart off the vehicle. But and let's turn off our debug type so we don't have any drawing debugs in here. And none here as well, and none. Okay, now let's test also the wheel rotation. So front right angle, there it goes. So you can do something like that. This wheel is just up that little thing there. And actually, let's turn off, because right now I have these things receiving decals, so maybe we don't want to have that. So yeah, there it goes. And now you can also do stuff like this, where you can like put it up in the air a little bit. That's exaggerated, but yeah, there it goes. So this is something that has helped me quite a bit in placing some of these static vehicles. They're not interactable, but I want to make sure that if I want to place them in like an interesting position, like maybe like this, right, kind of tilted to the side, it's they're gonna look a little bit more realistic, right? So there he goes, something like this. It's probably a little exaggerated, but and also having the front end being able to set the wheels at a different angle, so they don't all look the same, right? So you can potentially have another one over here that might be like that a little bit, and kind of like so. That's entirely up to you. So yeah, that let me turn the light around a little bit so you can see these a little bit better. So that gives it a little bit more of a variety in how these vehicles look, and you don't have to like mess around with trying to rotate it and so that all the wheels touch the ground exactly, and they don't go through the ground, right? That was one of my frustrations with this. So hopefully this is helpful to some of you, and again, something that I've made for my project, and it was useful for me. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.